Thank you very much. If you will indulge me and allow me a little bit of Japanese. Konnichiwa. Jim Comfort desu. IBM Cloud Forum. E yokoso. That's all for the Japanese. This is a truly exciting time in our industry. Cloud computing has the opportunity and the capability to truly transform our industry, your businesses, our business, and deliver on the promise of innovation for business. This is really what we are trying to accomplish. It is not about technology. It is about what we do for the business and how we transform your business. I've been involved with IBM's cloud strategy for the last 3 years, and I'm extremely excited to have this opportunity to share it with you. If we take a look at where we are on the journey, in 2007 and 2008, the concepts around cloud computing became very clear. It started as a consumer or a personal endeavor, but it became clear that the economic advantages for enterprise was real, and it coincided with the crisis in 2008 and the economics and the need for many businesses to find a dramatic change and a new set of technologies. And the term became synonymous with cost savings, but also an infrastructure discussion. And as we go through the day, I'll talk about how it's really a business productivity discussion. IBM at this point in time created a group to look at what is real, what is not, what matters to our clients, what matters to IBM, and how should we reshape our investments to create the new capabilities across the spectrum that I'll be discussing today. And we have truly transformed what we do, what we deliver, and what we are investing in on behalf of our clients. In 2009 and 2010, it was a tremendous amount of experimentation. We were involved with thousands, probably over 2,000 different cloud computing client engagements, finding out what works, what people need. And what we really learned was, this was a period of market hype. There was a desire for cloud to do everything. People talk about, I will move my enterprise to the cloud, which honestly, as a singular statement, makes no sense. All enterprises have many different applications, many different requirements. And so what we learned was it is important to bring the cloud computing concepts to the enterprise, and that had to be done in a secure, managed, realistic way. At the same time, we started many implementations, tests, and real work with clients from which we were now able to extract requirements and define our products. 2011, 2012, we are through the hype. Cloud is now real, so we've gone from concept to hype to reality. I'm involved personally in large banking institutions in the U.S. looking at moving 80,000 applications into a series of cloud environments. I've been involved with telecommunications companies that are standing up global infrastructure. These are large, real, meaningful engagements transforming how companies do business and how IBM does business. So we're at a very different state and a very real state, and the products and the launch and the capability I'll describe today hopefully will reflect that for you. The concept, there was a long time talking about language, private, public. Will the cloud come to the enterprise? Will the enterprise go to the cloud? What we have seen time and time again is that the model for cloud computing will be a hybrid model. There are some applications, some capability, and some workload that will always stay within the enterprise in a private cloud. There are some cloud services that will be consumed from an external source, whether it be public or a service provider such as IBM, where the relationship is more one of a contract between the client, between the enterprise and IBM. And in almost all cases, the model will be hybrid, where the enterprise will need to manage both of those environments as one and have the same degree of visibility, automation, and control over all their IT resources in that domain. And you saw the data earlier that upwards of 60% of businesses are actively planning cloud implementations. I think the data showed for Japan that was even higher at 70%. My personal experience is almost every enterprise that I talk to is actively not just planning, but implementing and starting down the journey toward cloud. The other thing that we learned, though, in all these engagements, and I commented earlier a little bit, is there will be no compromise. It is not acceptable for a company to move part of their infrastructure to a cloud environment and sacrifice security. It's not acceptable to move a part of the infrastructure to a cloud environment and not have the same degree of management capability or integration. And it's not acceptable to have an external cloud infrastructure which does not have the same level of service, availability, and reliability that you expect from your internal infrastructure. So this is the real challenge when we talk, and again, IBM speaks to enterprise cloud. How do we bring all these capabilities to make this real for you, but do so in a way that does not compromise on any of the requirements? You saw a slightly more complex version of this a minute ago. This is a consistent framework by which we will describe all of our cloud capabilities. We will work and we will have capability at all three levels of the cloud stack: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software or business process as a service. On the left, you see what we talk about as the IBM Cloud Foundations. These are the hardware, software, and services implementation for standing up and building and running private clouds within your enterprise. So this is what we do from our systems group, software group, and services to help clients run private clouds. But what you will see is a much tighter integration and packaging and make it easier for you to consume the capability and still make the choices that you need. The second part of the offering set is the IBM Smart Cloud Services. This is where IBM is managing and hosting the environment for both infrastructure and platform as a service. We are using this to transform our own business. We have our strategic outsourcing business, our hosting business, and our application on demand business. All of those will be transformed internally to IBM using the Smart Cloud Services platform. And that same platform will be made available to our clients for innovation and to our partners for innovation. And the final section is the IBM Smart Cloud Solutions. The Smart Cloud Solutions is really our software group and our business services, bringing together complex solutions for specific targeted industries or application suites. It may be, we'll talk a little more about smarter cities or smarter commerce, but these are complete solutions built and running on the IBM Smart Cloud Services. What's unique about IBM, and I think the discussion that we really want to have, the fact that we are looking at solutions and delivering software as a service and delivering real cloud solutions informs us on what we need the services platform to look like. What do we need it to do? What are the real requirements? How do we deliver that in a secure and efficient manner? In turn, that changes what we invest in around the platform, but what we learn at the platform informs how we should drive our investments for the hardware components, for the software, and how we need to integrate this to actually drive the productivity and the operational efficiency. So the fact that IBM, when we talk about cloud, it's a very broad definition, is truly unique, and it's also a choice. We will work with you in whatever model makes sense for your enterprise, unlike many of our competitors who I believe will have one or maybe two, but never all three of these options. And we believe this is a great benefit to both you and to us. Let me start with the foundations. I'm going to talk primarily to the icons. The Smart Cloud Foundations starts at the infrastructure layer. So we are able to have metered and deep analytics on both x86, Power, and Z infrastructure. We can provide you with the metering and billing capability to stand up an environment within your own enterprise. And in fact, this is probably the single largest set of capabilities we've been deploying in the last 2 years through the experimentation phase. And what you'll see, we'll talk about more and more, and this is really in this launch when we first bring this out, is this concept of platform as a service, or our application services, where we are providing the tools and capability for complete application lifecycle management, for integration with external sources, and for application management across the cloud domain. So within IBM, we are trying to make it easy to stand up a cloud environment, And in fact, one of the examples that I used in the presentation here was with Citibank. They had a current infrastructure to support 20,000 developers. They had over 8,000 servers that were very lightly utilized for development. Their typical time for deployment was 45 days for a request for a server till it was provisioned, and this is very common. I'm sure many of you see a similar characteristic. We worked with them to build both a hardware and a software implementation that actually allows them to provision the server in less than 20 minutes. They've made that available globally to all of their developer community, and they're now able to dramatically improve not just the cost of the implementation, but most importantly, the productivity. They have taken their developer workforce and made them remarkably more productive. They've done this in the last 2 years, and it's real, and we've repeated this in many places. So this is, although a relatively simple example, we are seeing this type of internal, self-service, metered, automatic provisioning across many, many industries as a way of doing their development internally, equally secure, more efficient. The beauty of this type of, this is much more than cloud. So, and this is in the video. I didn't realize we were going to have the video earlier. When I talk about the conversation going down to a infrastructure level too quickly, what I find in this case is you are taking the developers and making them far more productive, and that this is the real value. This is cutting across their entire business, and this is the model that we see repeated in many, many places. What we've done now, and I'll spend a little more time on this chart, is talk about the Smart Cloud platform at the infrastructure level. And there's 3 main points I want to make here. First, we provide choice. This is our services platform, so now this is the middle capability. And we start at the bottom, and we will deliver this and work with clients to have this as a managed service where the infrastructure is in your data center. We have it as a hosted, dedicated cloud where it is managed and hosted in our IBM data centers, but specifically for your enterprise. And we offer a model where, of course, we have managed and hosted shared services. But again, this is different. This is an enterprise contract between IBM and your enterprise, and you have a high degree of access control that only your employees with the appropriate access level have access to the infrastructure. So the security model is very robust. The second level of variations that we have in this is we have 2 flavors. They're shown here as Enterprise and Enterprise Plus. The Enterprise characteristics are for what I would describe born on the web or software resilient programming models. This is the classic, what many people see in the infrastructure as a service, and this is a relatively low cost, easy to spin up for variable workload type of environment. Enterprise Plus is a environment for traditional legacy hardware resilient programming model type applications, and this is to have true production characteristics. So again, similar to the discussion I had before, IBM is not saying choose one or the other. We're saying we will have a single platform that will have 2 sets of capabilities and be able to make a choice for your application profile. So we typically see maybe and so this is a very important point to our platform. We have an Enterprise Plus to support traditional applications. We have the Enterprise platform to support the new programming models. You can look at your application estate and make the choice that makes sense for you and work across that entire spectrum. And similarly, within the Enterprise Plus, we have both an x86 and the power variation. So we are trying to provide not a single target, not an infinite or large range of targets, but the smallest number that makes sense to cover the bulk of your application estate. And this is really the beauty of this platform. And then all of the self-service, the platform management, the application management, the security, again, what we offer here is we offer choice. The client, we talk about it as the client-controlled or the client-defined cloud. Within any of these delivery models and within any of the platforms, Enterprise or Enterprise Plus, you have the choice of service level agreement. You have the choice of management level. Do you want to manage the infrastructure yourself, or do you want to have IBM manage more of that stack for you? And so what we're trying to do is provide choice in business model, choice in technology, and choice in the SLA, all within a single IBM Smart Cloud platform. This is really what we're trying to bring to market and enhance as we go forward. If I start with the simple use cases for Smart Cloud Enterprise, again, this is the born on the web, software resilient programming model. Development and test, the example I used for Citibank, the same type of capability can be done in the hosted service with IBM. We talk about batch processing. This is very bursty workload, very temporal. It can be either insurance risk analysis or genetic type programming, and of course web applications. I want to point out that through this offer, you can go to the website here, www.ibm.com, Smart Cloud Experience. We have a free demo, and you or the employees in your enterprise are free to sign up. It's an enterprise contract. You would get a number of licenses to use for a month, and you can look at the capability that is real and available globally today. If I look at a few of the examples, and again, these are quite common. The first, in the development and test arena, this was a broadcasting company. They had a need to provision a large number of servers in order to handle their transition from digital or tape-based media to digital. They actually were very frustrated with their internal process, contracted with us on a Friday, and by Monday had their development teams working in this environment doing the work. This is the speed, the agility, that's the real value of cloud. The cost per VM, the infrastructure metrics are interesting, but the fact that they were able to take a development team and make them far more productive within a week than they were for many months, that's the magic of cloud. That's the revolutionary benefit. That's the real power. The university example, batch processing, this happened to be a genetic folding experiment. It's a relatively simple set of calculations. But again, they were able to use thousands of systems and hundreds of thousands of cycles overnight and actually do some very interesting discovery. And we've seen similar processing for insurance companies doing risk analytics on an overnight process, again, on Smart Cloud Enterprise. And finally, we have many, many ISVs engaging with us and starting up and standing up applications. This example was a government, a city that needed to create a new set of data collection capabilities, and they were able to, again, to get that up in a very short period of time. So, this is, you've seen many examples, but doing this in the IBM environment, where you can also migrate this into the production environments over time in a single and seamless way, this is the real power of what we're trying to introduce with the model. Now, those examples were for enterprise, and I mentioned that what we're really introducing now is the Enterprise Plus, the production environment. And the production environments have, again, they are aimed at legacy application suite. There is far more expense associated with moving from your existing environment into cloud than the cloud operation itself. What we've been developing is a series of migration services where we do a very detailed inventory. We can understand all of the applications, what their interactions are, and where they need to go. The service then plans the optimum deployment, what should be done in what order, and how can you standardize on the middleware stack on the transition, and then does a series of migrations where we do transformation on transition. So as we're moving from the old environment to the new, we stand up in the Enterprise Plus environment. We can do the testing in parallel in the cloud and then cut over to production. What you'll find is, in many cases, the speed and the efficiency with which you can move the applications onto the cloud platform will dominate the economics. If you cannot do that at a reasonable cost with a high degree of automation and achieve a reasonable amount of standardization at the end, you will actually never see the return on the investment for the migration. So this is a key part of our platform, is to not just have the platform, but also the services for migration. I won't describe all the capability here. I think you're all familiar with this. But there's some very important points on where is the savings. I've made the point a few times, the discussion, the press, is often on the infrastructure level. But the real savings, the revolutionary benefit, the much larger cost enhancements are at the higher levels in the software management, at the OS, middleware, and the runtime environments. or in the software as a service stack itself. And what we're trying to do is learn from this what really matters. How do we provide not infinite choice, but sufficient choice that the end user has the choices they need to be successful, but we have a sufficiently narrow menu and we've standardized on a small enough number of capabilities that we can actually automate and deliver the economics. And this is a key point that many people miss in the cloud discussion. The magic is not moving to cloud. It is the benefits to your company often come from the standardization. IBM's ability to deliver the economics to you depends on the degree of standardization. And so while we have spent 20 years building custom environments, tuning every environment to a unique application and a unique environment, what we're finding now is that in cloud, we actually can do a far better job of standardizing and maintaining control across the environment. And I describe it as the gift that keeps on giving. Once you have done this adjustment and you've deployed capability like I was describing for your development teams, their ability to deploy a single stack universally in all projects is much, much higher. And this again becomes the most dramatic economic return in the productivity of the worker, productivity, lower defects, and the productivity of the overall environment. So what we've done now between the migration services, understanding the different levels of the stack, and taking the infrastructure platform that I described before, we've also looked at our business. IBM is not new to this business. I think we all realize that. We have over 1.3 million SAP users. We've been running production hosting environments for 15 years. We operate globally. And most importantly, we've done thousands of migrations. So we've taken this combined experience of the migration, the application environment, and understanding what the as-a-service technologies need to be, and rolled that up into what we now talk about as our application services. So we are extending the Smart Cloud. The bottom half of this picture is the same as I described before. But when we talk about the application services, we're now packaging and making available in a managed service the application lifecycle or developer management tools, the application environments. How can you deploy these to any of the targets I described automatically and easily? And also, how can you integrate, not just, go back to my first picture on the hybrid cloud, not just your internal with the IBM, but IBM with Salesforce, IBM with another external party. All of our clients are looking for a capability to integrate across, and you've seen us, you may be familiar with our recent acquisition of Cast Iron. Cast Iron is an integration company that has the ability to have your database in your enterprise data center synchronized with all of your interactions with your external parties. Again, this is part of what we mean in the integration services at this application level. So what does this mean? It allows us to take the Smart Cloud application services and focus on the user, focus on the role. And in the development arena, providing the tools to allow you to develop securely with an enterprise-class platform and with a uniformity across the enterprise. The ability to deploy. We have a number of products, again, they're available either in foundations or in the Smart Cloud services, but this allows you to have common patterns that are your library, customized for your purposes, but then deployed anywhere on the Smart Cloud platform. The delivery side of this, so that this can be managed in an automated fashion and use resources that you know how to manage and control. And finally integrate in the way I was describing with Cast Iron. This entire life cycle of develop, deploy, deliver, integrate, packaged as a set of services riding on the IBM cloud is, again, ties back to the comment I made in the video on you separate what from how. The focus for cloud should be on what the user needs to accomplish, what their role is, and if we do our job correctly, or if you implement cloud correctly within your enterprise, the details underneath become less and less important. They become less visible. And that's what allows us to actually automate and drive the cost out of this infrastructure. So it's a very important, and people always wonder why I spend so much time on it. This separation or this abstraction of what the user is trying to do from how is fundamental to realizing the benefits of cloud. And when you couple that with the standardization thought, this is where the real value comes in. point we also wanted to make, and the reason that we're focusing on Enterprise Plus, this is not just about simple applications. We are taking this into our production environments, and you have dramatic improvements. I talked about some of these before. You have the development team set up. Administrative hours, 5 per week down to 1 per week. Application integration done in days or hours. And provisioning of SAP environments down from days or weeks to minutes or hours. These are the dramatic improvement. This has nothing to do with cost per VM hour. That is an interesting part of the equation. This is what everyone likes to talk about. This has to do with how do you actually make your business more flexible, faster, and more agile. And these are real, and these are all demonstrated in client environments that we've been managing to date. I mentioned a minute ago the SAP example. I think that there's a supposition that the cloud is not viable for complex applications. That's not true. What we're trying to do with Enterprise Plus is create a secure production environment, and we have a lot of work going on SAP. We are the first vendor qualified for SAP, but you can do production workload on Enterprise Plus, but at the same time use Enterprise or Enterprise Plus to do all of the routine tasks. We have programmed the scripts. You can customize them for your environment. And what we're really doing is taking all of the repeatable tasks that drive low server utilization and moving those into scripts where you can do either system refreshes or system cloning in a far more efficient manner, and then deploy this on the production environment. So you really have a blend of the two worlds. And I use this example because this really is what we're trying to do. Use the production environment where it makes sense. Use the lower cost enterprise development environment where it makes sense, and bring these together into a seamless experience for your enterprise. And again, we have a number of examples, and I encourage you to work with the teams to understand what can be done in your environments. If we bring these together then, so I've been talking about the infrastructure layer, I talked about the application services layer, and I described at the beginning the differentiation for IBM is on 3 factors. We have breadth in the number of services and the capability that we offer. We provide a link to an open ecosystem. I'll describe that a little bit more in a few minutes. But most importantly, we provide choice and flexibility. So on this platform, you have the choice to build your own services, deliver them as a service within your enterprise. This becomes the client-defined services. You have the services like the SAP environment I was just describing that IBM is providing, again, riding on the same set of capabilities. You have a set of business solutions that Software Group or other partners are developing, and we have a broader ecosystem of ISVs leveraging this platform. We truly are, when we talk about the IBM Smart Business Cloud or the Smart Cloud platform, enabling one environment with multiple capabilities that enterprises and clients can choose which combination makes sense. You can choose whether it is all within your enterprise. You can choose to use what we host. You can choose to use a third party. You can choose to use the third-party applications or the IBM applications. This is really what I meant at the beginning when I say IBM's definition of cloud is much broader than what we see in many of our competitors, and we think this is really an advantage for us, and more importantly, an advantage for you. This is, our reason to do all of this is to deliver real value to the enterprise and enable transformation for your business, and that's what we're trying to do with these capabilities. Make it as easy as possible to consume. I mentioned a few times the Smart Cloud solutions. This is work primarily done within our Software Group environment. Again, back to the first chart, this is the far left of our offering. One of the best examples is probably the Smarter Cities. The Smarter Cities, we actually take and create what we call an integrated operation center, which is probably, I think, approaching 30 Software Group products pulled together into a single environment. And you have the choice to bring that up either on the IBM cloud, run it as a managed service, or stand up in your private cloud environment and run that same capability. It allows integration and collection of information and then analytics, so that a city can respond to disaster, can manage their natural resources, manage traffic, or any of these other. And again, this is, we see many, many cities and governments trying to come up with a revolutionary way to address their business. And this is a perfect example of trying to take a solution, understand what it needs to be as a managed service, understand what it needs to be as a private cloud, and make it possible for consumption in any of those models. The second example, smarter commerce. Smarter commerce on the cloud. You have probably seen our recent acquisitions around Sterling Commerce, Core Metrics, and Unica. These three companies come together to provide an end-to-end supply chain and web commerce environment. And it's a very powerful combination because you can have certain parts dedicated to your needs as a business and use others in a software as a service model. So again, this concept of hybrid. There's what's dedicated to your environment versus what we use in an on-demand basis. And a very interesting example in this case was Rodale. They are a publication firm, a number of magazines, and for many, many years had been doing web-based advertising and had very little understanding of how effective it was, who they were targeting, and what were the most effective programs and approaches for marketing. Using the Core Metrics capability around web analytics and the digital marketing suite, they've been able to target their advertisement, look at the ad pages that are successful, look at the responses in which environment most people will click through to actually drive new business, and improve by a factor of 2 to 3 the effectiveness of their ad marketing campaigns. Again, this is going beyond simply web hosting and linking the hosting and the capability for web advertising with analytics, business analytics, and a commerce suite. So this is an example, and we have many others on the Smart Cloud solutions. I've been talking about the platform, and again, I've said we are differentiated, and what IBM is trying to do is provide breadth, provide choice, and support open ecosystems. We are very active in this. It's a very real activity. This particular example is around a body that we have pulled together called the Cloud Standards Customer Council. We bring many of our clients and other enterprises together to understand what they think is important to enable choice, and then use that information to work with the standard bodies and adjust what we're doing, what the standard bodies are doing, and then make sure that our platform truly enables choice. This is very active and real. I think many of our competitors talk to this, but I think you'll find this a very exciting opportunity, and I encourage any of you to get involved in this as you can. I have just a few more slides. I think I mentioned ecosystem. The ecosystem we take at many levels. We have partners at the technology level. We have partners that we are enabling as service providers. We have partners that are application providers. And finally, we have infrastructure providers as well as cloud integration services. I'd like to call out a few. One example is in the technology provider, Nirvanix. Nirvanix is a cloud storage provider, which we have now integrated with the Smart Cloud platform so that you can store data once and access it anywhere in the globe from a single copy. So again, this is an example of, rather than IBM trying to do all of this together, we bring partners in and make their capability available through our service. Cohesive FT is another example. Cohesive FT is a firm that is helping us with migration capability so that you can design in one cloud environment and easily migrate to another. So again, bringing in partners that enable the flexibility and choice that I've been talking about. And then finally, I had the great fortune yesterday of meeting with Toppan M&I here in Japan. And they are a wonderful business partner doing integration of our cloud capabilities into solutions for enterprises here in Japan. So I think it's a wonderful example of the breadth of our ecosystem, both partners, ISVs, channel partners, and technology partners. And you'll see this grow and enrich over time. Finally, I'd like to comment on, this is truly global. The capability I've described, we have labs around the world that can work with you and your enterprises on implementation. We have globally deployed Smart Cloud Enterprise to the US, Europe, Japan, and Asia. And we are now in the process of deploying Enterprise Plus, again, through US, Europe, Japan, and Asia over the course of the first half of 2012. So the capability at the infrastructure level, the capability at the platform as a service level will be available both in the foundations and components, but also as a managed service globally. So we're thrilled, excited. It's been a long journey. I personally first was involved in this in 2008, back in the concept phase to my first chart. And to see this now into an implementation phase and driving real value for business is very exciting to me. I've seen the work that the team here in Japan is doing, and I look forward to working with all of you on making cloud real for your business and your enterprise. Thank you.